Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Now today what I'm going to be bringing you is my reaction to my 2021-22 League 2 table predictions. Now if you do go on to enjoy today's video, a like as always will be massively appreciated. If you could try and hit 70 likes on today's video, that'd be absolutely class. Subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. We are now on the road to 6,000 subscribers. The support on the channel over the past month has been absolutely fantastic, so thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it a lot. Make sure to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. What were your League 2 table predictions like, and how many points have you accumulated? If you don't know about the point system, the difference between your prediction and the actual place where they finish is the amount of points that you get. You add them all up, whether it's a plus or a minus, you just add them all up, and whatever amount of points that you've accumulated, that is how much you finish on. The past couple of years, I haven't done great. I'm delighted to announce I've done much better this year than what I did compared to last year. But make sure you drop a like on today's video, subscribe if you are new as well, and let's get into it. So starting out then in 24th place, one of a couple that I have got absolutely bang on in these predictions was Scunthorpe United. They had a shocking end to the previous season. The recruitment wasn't the greatest. I did expect them to go down, but they had an absolutely torrid time this season. I think they only won 4 or 5 matches. They were an absolutely awful football team. Towards the end of the season, they were literally playing 15, 16, 17-year-olds because their first team was just so poor. I mean, I don't rate Keith Hill as a manager whatsoever, but it really has not gone well for Scunthorpe this season. It is one that I've started off with very well in this prediction, you know, getting 0 points from the first one is very good, but I think a lot of people predicted Scunthorpe to be down there, and thankfully, I got it bang on. In 23rd place, I predicted Harrogate Town. I thought they would have suffered a little bit from second season syndrome. They actually did finish in 19th, so they finished 4 places better than what I predicted at the start of the season. It looked like they were challenging for promotion, obviously. Around the Christmas sort of period, they kind of just fell off a cliff. They were picking up injury after injury. They don't have the greatest squad, you know, it's not the biggest, it's not got the most quality in it. They've got some decent players in there. Jack Diamond on loan from Sunderland, I think, has been a real star for them this season. They obviously did the double over my team at Bradford City. I didn't think they would have had enough to stay up this season, but they've gone 4 places better than what I predicted and finished in 19th. In 22nd, just avoiding relegation, I predicted Barrow, and this is another one that I've got absolutely bang on. They did finish in 22nd, so 2 out of 3 so far that I have got absolutely bang on. I didn't think Barrow have the greatest squad in the world. I wasn't convinced on Matt Cooper being appointed as their new manager. They lost Scott Quigley as well in the summer, I do believe, to, I think it was Stockport, and they've done all right this season. You know, they've made a couple of decent signings. My team, Bradford City, have just signed one of their best players last season, Matty Platt, from them. You know, he was a centre-half. They took our captain and centre-half in January as well, but another one that I've got absolutely bang on with, so I'm very happy with that. In 21st place, I predicted Hartlepool United, obviously first season back in the Football League. They actually finished 4 places better and finished in 17th. Started out the season with Dave Shanler or something like that as their manager. He left and went to Stockport. They brought a new manager, and I can't remember his name, but I think it was Graham Lee maybe. He did end up getting the chop though, either at the last game of the season or just before the last game of the season. And yeah, I'm sure Hartlepool fans will say that. I feel like earlier on in the season they could have maybe say they were disappointed not to finish slightly higher, but for a first season back in the Football League, you just want to, you know, be solid and make sure that you're not in any fear of going down. I don't think they really were in any fear of getting relegated. At the start of the season as well, they were really struggling away from home, so going into the next season, I think they will need to improve their away form because they were so strong at home throughout the season. I think they've been more than fine this season, but I predicted 21st. They finished 4 places better in 17th, but again, not too far away on that one. The next one I am very far away with. In 20th place, I predicted Sutton United. I don't think many people have predicted them to be in the top half, never mind to finish 8th. I was 12 out on this one. I thought, coming up from the National League, I wasn't going to make the same mistake I made in the previous season and predict the teams who had just been promoted to be relegated. I knew Sutton would stay up this season because they had that togetherness, and only this season is what I've really realised how hard it actually is to get out of that National League. So maybe I underestimated Sutton quite a lot. They did end up finishing just outside the playoffs. You know, at one point they really were in an automatic promotion chase, so they've done very well to finish in 8th place. I'm sure they'll more than take that and look to kick on next season. I'm not the biggest fan of their manager, to be honest with you, but they've done an absolutely fantastic job this season, so fair play to Sutton. But I had an absolute howler on that one, as I'm sure probably a lot of people did. In 19th place, I predicted Oldham Athletic. They finished 4 places lower, ended up getting relegated into the National League. I thought, well, I actually said it in my video, the reason why Oldham will stay up this season is because of Davis Keeler-Dunn and Dylan Bahambula. But from pretty much Christmas time, Dylan Bahambula went from being one of the best midfielders in the league to absolutely down here. He was awful in that second half of the season, and yeah, Oldham just couldn't quite do it in the end. You know, they had multiple managerial changes, started out the season with Keith Curle, ended it with John Sheridan. I'm sure they had some sort of maybe interim manager in between that as well. It looked like at one point the Resurrection was going to be on. It didn't happen, and Oldham will be playing National League football next season. In 18th place, I predicted Crawley Town. They finished 6 places better and finished in 12th. I didn't think their squad had all too much quality in it. I knew they had, you know, a fairly big squad. Obviously, John Yems was their manager. We all know the situation that's happened with him and him being rightfully sacked by Crawley Town if the allegations do come out as true. But in terms of on the pitch, I think they've done all right this season. I think 12th place for Crawley Town for the size of their club. I think they'll be more than happy with 12th place. I thought they'd done a little bit worse this season because I just didn't think they had enough goals in them, but they've done fairly well this season. Johnny Yems, when he was the manager, managed to get some very good results out of them. You know, they always played with a fearless factor about them. They were always more than confident to go to places like Bradford, Forest Green, Exeter, and go and try and get a result. You know, they never changed the way they were playing just based on their opposition, which I think was a good thing about that. But obviously, with what's happened at Crawley, obviously they've got new owners in as well. Wagner United, they were heavily linked with Bradford City in the Christmas sort of period, but this season I'm sure Crawley will more than take a mid-table finish. In 17th place, I predicted Rochdale. Now, I got a lot of stick from Rochdale fans for predicting this. They all thought they were going to win the league this season. They finished 1 place lower than that in 18th. An absolutely awful season for Rochdale. I said I didn't think they had any goals in them. You know, they try and play possession-based football and create lots of chances, but when you ain't got anyone to stick the ball in the back of the net, you're always going to struggle. They were leaking a lot of goals as well throughout the season, but for all the Rochdale fans that thought they were going to walk the league, they have now realised how hard it is in League 2 to get out of it. You know, you need to be not even necessarily consistent, you just need to have a decent squad. It doesn't have to be outstanding, it just needs to be fairly decent, and they just lacked quality at times, and it's not the end of the world. Only 1 place on that one, so I'll certainly take it. In 16th place, I predicted Swindon Town. I thought, even at the time of this prediction, I thought even that was quite high to predict them. They ended up finishing 10 places higher in 6th place. Ben Garner has done an absolutely fantastic job at Swindon, considering they had like 5 or 6 players at the start of their pre-season. He has done an absolute wonderful job. Harry McCurdy's had the season of his life, getting well over 30 goal contributions, so fair play to him for that. Their manager, he's been heavily linked with the Charlton job in real life at the moment as well, but 10 out on that one. I think a lot of people would have had Swindon down there. Again, at the time, I thought I was probably being a little bit too generous to Swindon to say they've got the playoffs. I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job to manage to get up there. In the end, I know their squad was very good at the end of the season, but if you think right at the start, the expectations for Swindon were probably just to stay in the league, so you've got to give them all the credit that you can to see them get into a playoff semi-final. Looked like they were going to get to the final on penalties if it wasn't for Harry McCurdy, you know, being very cocky and arrogant with his penalty. I think they probably would have got there, but 16th place is where I predicted Swindon, ended up finishing in 6th. In 15th place, I predicted Stevenage. They finished 6 places lower and ended up finishing 21st in the season. Started out the season with Alex Ravel as their manager. He parted ways, and then Paul Tisdale came in. Didn't really have the desired effect that they were looking for. Steve Evans came in towards the end of the season, managed to keep them in the league, and they've already done very well. Started their recruitment business very early. I think they've already made 4 signings going into next season. All they look pretty decent for this level. Cal Piagiani, Aaron Chapman, Danny Rose. I can't remember who the other one was as well, but they made some decent signings. I was fairly out on this one. 6 places isn't the greatest. I thought they would have done better considering how well they finished last season. I thought under Alex Ravel last season, I thought they did very well. This season just didn't transpire into anything decent and ended up finishing probably in a relegation battle, but just managed to survive in 21st. In 14th place, I predicted Colchester United. Not too much to say about this one. They ended up finishing 1 place lower in 15th in the table, so not a bad prediction from me there whatsoever. Only 1 place out on that. Wasn't a great season for Colchester. They've done better than what they did in the previous season though, so I'm sure they can't really complain all too much. Not a bad season for them whatsoever. In 13th place, I predicted Northampton Town. They finished 9 places better and ended up finishing 4th in the table. I said in my video, I just simply did not see where their goals were coming from, and granted they didn't score many goals this season, but because of how good their defence was, because of how good Horsfall, Guthrie and Roberts were, obviously I know it's a team game, but them 3 in particular, they've done absolute wonders. Should have been promoted automatically, missed out on the last day, then obviously bottled it in the playoffs as well against Mansfield. I'm sure they'll be gutted not to be playing League 1 football this season. Weren't great in either game that I saw against them, against Bradford City, but I think in the end they're probably going to be happy with a 4th place finish. Not a great prediction from me whatsoever, just because I didn't simply see where the goals were coming from for Northampton, which in terms of that is a good prediction because of how well they did defensively. They managed to keep so many clean sheets, well over 20 clean sheets. I think it was 22 in the end, something like that. So yeah, not a great prediction from me there whatsoever. In 12th place, I predicted Walsall. They finished 4 places lower and finished in 16th. I saw a lot of people predicting Walsall to be in their top 5, top 6, making the playoffs and their automatic promotion places. But for me personally, I just simply did not see it. Their squad was just a bang average League 2 squad. Was not convinced by their manager whatsoever. I think he was Ash Taylor. He got the chop. Michael Flynn came in towards the second half of the season. He's done alright. Nothing special there though. And I think going into next season, I'm probably predicting them at the moment to finish somewhere around there in the table. Not a bad prediction from me. Only 4 places out. In 11th place, the third team that I have got exactly bang on, I predicted Newport County. Did end up finishing in 11th place. So add on another 0 points for me there. Another beautiful prediction. And unfortunately, that is the last of the 3 that I got bang on. I don't think I got 1. I might have got 1 maybe bang on last season, but I've got 3 bang on this season, a couple here or there out on 1. So I don't think I've done too badly this season. I've got a lot less points though than what I did compared to last season. But Newport, I think they've done alright this season. I think if it wasn't for Dom Telford and all of his goals this season, they really could have been lower mid-table. Newport either seem to finish in the playoffs or mid-table. They never like just miss out, and I think they'll probably be happy with that. In 10th place, I predicted Mansfield Town. They ended up finishing 3 places better in 7th. I said I really did rate Nigel Clough as a manager, and I think when he got a full season as manager, I think he really could do wonders there. In the end, he's managed to get them into the playoffs. They've ended up going into the playoff final as well. They'll be playing Port Vale in a couple of days' time, so get your score predictions in for that game down in the comment section down below. Not a bad prediction from me there, only 3 out. I thought they would have just missed out on the playoffs. They managed to get in there, and I think Clough has done an exceptional job with Mansfield this season. I don't think they've really got many bad players. I said the only reason why I don't think they'll get into the playoffs is because of their goalkeeper and their defence. I actually thought Aidan Stone was still the goalkeeper at Mansfield. I didn't realise at the time of recording that they brought Nathan Bishop in, or maybe they hadn't at that point. The video was recorded right at the start of August, so there's still a month left of transfers as well, so make sure to take that into account. But not a bad prediction from me there whatsoever, only 3 out on that one. In 9th place, I predicted Exeter City. They finished 7 places better and ended up finishing 2nd in the table. I've just got to give a lot of credit to Matt Taylor. I didn't think their recruitment was the greatest. I didn't see where their goals were coming from. This was just before they signed Sam Nyombe. I didn't think that Giovanni Brown was a good signing whatsoever. It turns out he's been very good for Exeter this season. I thought they were just missed out on the playoffs. They've ended up being automatically promoted into League One. They've just missed out on the title as well by 1 point. All I can do is give my credit to Exeter. I think they've been fantastic this season. Both times Bradford have played them in the league, and the 3 times we played them in the FA Cup. Yeah, you did hear that correct. We played them 3 times in the FA Cup. I thought every time they were absolutely fantastic and deserved to beat us in pretty much every game, to be honest with you. 7 out on that one. Not a great prediction from me whatsoever. In 8th place, and the final team to miss out on a playoff spot, I predicted Leyton Orient. They finished 5 places lower and ended up finishing in 13th. I wasn't overly convinced on Kenny Jackett. I didn't really see where their goals were coming from. I thought some of their recruitment was very good. Omar Beckles, he's a very good signing. Connor Wood as well from Bradford, I thought was a decent addition. I thought they just missed out on the playoffs. They ended up finishing mid-table. Obviously didn't really work out for Kenny Jackett whatsoever. Richie Wellens came in towards the end of the season. I think he's done a decent job there. I will be interested to see how they do get on next season, but for me personally, I didn't think they'd make the playoffs. They ended up finishing mid-table, and I was 5 out on that one, so not a great prediction whatsoever. Moving on then into my top 7. In 7th place, I predicted Carlisle United. They finished 13 places lower, ended up finishing 20th in the table. This is my joint worst prediction of the video. I've no idea why I predicted them so high. Last season they were doing fairly well, to be fair. It looked like they were going to win the league. They obviously got their COVID problems and ended up falling right down into mid-table. I thought this season they would have recovered. It simply has not gone their way. They brought in Paul Simpson as their new manager towards the end of the season. And yeah, it just didn't really work out for Carlisle. I have no idea why I predicted them to finish so high. That is an absolutely shocking prediction from me. The joint worst in today's video. I was 13 places out on that one. That is an absolute shocker. In 6th place, I predicted Salford City. They finished 4 places lower, ended up finishing in 10th. I thought this might be the year where Salford finally get into the playoffs. I was not convinced on Gary Bowyer whatsoever. Pretty much everybody had Salford to finish in the top 3. I went with 6th place. Even then, I thought I was a little bit generous. I've witnessed Gary Bowyer bowl firsthand. it's not great, but I thought some of the quality that they had in their team, Ash Hunter, Thomas Asante, Josh Morris, I think there's some very, very good players in there at this level. They missed out on the playoffs though, ended up finishing in 10th, so not an awful prediction from me. Neither is the team I predicted to finish in 5th. I went with Tranmere Rovers. Again, they finished 4 places lower, finishing in 9th. It looked at one point like they were going to be automatically promoted. It didn't turn out that way. You know, the last 10 games I'd probably say of the season, they absolutely fell off a cliff and ended up finishing outside the playoffs in 9th. I thought Mickey Mellon was a good appointment at the start of the season. Tranmere fans, let me know your thoughts on him down in the comment section down below. It seems to be fairly split, their thoughts on him at the moment, but yeah, not an awful prediction from me there whatsoever. In 4th place, I predicted Joey Barton's Bristol Rovers. They finished one better, ended up finishing in 3rd, getting automatically promoted into League One. I would have got this bang on if Bristol Rovers would have conceded a goal or Northampton would have scored another goal. I would have got this one bang on. I didn't think they'd be automatically promoted with the situation with Joey Barton at the start of the season. He was in some legal battles. I can't really remember all too much of what exactly went on because I didn't really want to touch on it in the video at the time, but obviously I think that's behind him now. I'm not really too sure. I still don't really know what's going on with him there, but they've managed to be automatically promoted back into League One. I'm sure no Bristol Rovers fans will be complaining about that whatsoever. First half of the season, I thought they were pretty poor. First 15-20 games of the season, but the second half of the season, they absolutely turned it on, put on a show for the Rovers fans and managed to finish in 3rd place. So, but again, not a bad prediction from me there whatsoever. Moving on then into the top 3. In 3rd place, I predicted Port Vale. They finished 2 places lower and finished in 5th place. I thought last season they were fairly decent once Darrell Clarke came in. Like I said, similarly about Nigel Clough at Mansfield, I think when Darrell Clarke has a full season as manager, I think, you know, Port Vale really could have challenged. Obviously, there was a couple months of the season where Darrell Clarke he was on some sort of annual leave with a family death or something like that. I'm not really too sure what happened there, but Port Vale this season, both times that we've played them, I think they have been the best team in the league. Both times we played them, they've done a job on us. We only managed to pick up the 1 point from both games. I thought they were fantastic. I think they do deserve to go up. Whoever wins out of Mansfield and Port Vale, whoever does go up, I think they thoroughly deserve it because they've both been fantastic this season. Not a bad prediction from me there whatsoever, only being 2 out on that one. In 2nd place, I predicted Forest Green Rovers. I was 1 place out on this. They ended up winning the league. It looked like they were going to finish 2nd and bottle it, but Exeter couldn't win on the last day of the season. They ended up finishing in 1st place. I think they've been fantastic this season. Their whole starting 11 was absolutely fantastic, but it does seem to be slowly all moving apart. Mark Edwards, their manager, has already gone to Watford. He's been linked with players like Nicky Cadden and Kane Wilson. Ebu Adams, central midfielder, has signed for Cardiff as well. Matt Stevens and Jamil Matt were fantastic this season with all their goal contributions. And then finally, winning the league, I predicted my team, Bradford City. This was the joint worst prediction of the video with Carlisle. I was 13 places out on this one. We ended up finishing in 14th. I fell into the trap that of the club. I haven't done it the previous couple of years. I've always predicted around the playoffs, mid-table, something like that. This season, I fell for it. I thought we'd win the league under Derek Adams with Theo Robinson and Keelan Lavery as our 2 strikers. Yeah, awful prediction. Let's not speak about it any further, but that is my predictions. Overall, last season, I accumulated 155 points. I couldn't find an actual points tally from what I got from the 1920 season. Last season, though, I managed to accumulate 155, which is an absolute shocker. This season, I've only managed 114. If I didn't have Sutton, Carlisle or Bradford, if you'd have swapped Carlisle and Sutton, I'd have probably had a very, very, very good season. I didn't though. Unfortunately, I did get it very wrong. And 114 is definitely something I will take. It might take a little bit of beating next season. My predictions video will always be coming out just a couple of days before the first game of the league season. But that is where I'm going to leave it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, a like as always will be massively appreciated. If you could join it, 70 likes. As I said at the start of today's video, that would be absolutely class. Subscribe if you are new as well. We are now on the road to 6,000 subscribers. So make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already. Make sure as well to come over and follow me on TikTok if you are a Bradford City fan and you want to see a transfer leak. I have posted it over on TikTok today at about 1:30. So make sure you go over and check that out if you haven't already. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching and I shall see you all very soon for another video. Peace.